So after constantly being told to get the Steam Deck OLED and get the Steam Deck OLED, I got it, guys. Got the Steam Deck freaking OLED. And honestly, I wanted to do a review on how I feel about the Steam Deck OLED and is this thing worth it, especially if you've got the LCD Steam Deck. So this is more going to be kind of like a head-to-head here. On top of that, if you have been waiting to get a Steam Deck 2, right, waiting for that announcement, don't worry, I finally pulled the trigger on these things. So just in due time, we're going to get a Steam Deck 2 announcement pretty soon. It was really the reason I was holding off. I just had this feeling deep down that the minute I buy it, there's going to be a Steam Deck 2 announcement. So incoming, right? I've had this thing for about 2 weeks now, and I wanted to cover how I feel about it, especially because I had the LCD for a little over a year now. Probably one of my favorite purchases ever when it comes to gaming. I love the Steam Deck. It's past that honeymoon phase, if you ask me. I know when you buy a new piece of tech, right? That first freaking week, I mean, you love it. It's amazing. Let's dive in. Let's see if the Steam Deck OLED is actually worth upgrading from the LCD. So first things first, I want to give you guys a little context on my Steam Deck LCD. I did mod mine out. So I bought, I think, maybe the standard one that had the least amount of memory. And what I ended up doing was I cracked the thing open and actually put in a SSD. I'm not a huge technical person. I built like my PC with some tutorials, but yeah, I mean, there's YouTube videos that'll teach you how to do this thing. So I had a 1 terabyte SSD inside my Steam Deck LCD, and I also got a 1 terabyte memory card. Love the thing. Like I said, guys, I play a ton of PC games on there. I mean, I was getting through most of Baldur's Gate on there, considering that's like a 300-hour game until like kind of that third act where it kind of stutter. But then on top of that, I mean, emulating, it is a no-brainer when it comes to the Steam Deck. It's really an awesome device. And I mean, most people are just going to assume, right, when you read about this thing, that the Steam Deck OLED is more of like, kind of like the Switch OLED upgrade, right? Something that's just a screen that's upgraded. And I mean, you're not getting much else. I don't think the Switch OLED is any different from the actual Switch besides the screen, if I remember correct. But yeah, guys, I mean, I bought one of those. Side note, Nintendo, I hate the way you set up your cloud saves. I lost maybe 300 hours of Animal Crossing when I switched. And yeah, I despise it. Just complete side note there. But yeah, I mean, back to the deck. I mean, as soon as you open this thing, it's the same, guys. You've got just a few things here that have changed. They've added a little bit of black here outside of the thumbsticks. I think the thumbsticks are a little more concave here as well. So a little easier for the grip. Nothing crazy. You've got the orange button that's a little more Valve-like, right? With the Half-Life kind of like throwaway, you know, color here for Half-Life, which is what they're known for. But overall, on the outside, you're not going to notice that much of a difference. But when it comes to like the exterior upgrades here, the screen is going to be just a little bigger. I think you're going from like a 7-inch screen on the Steam Deck LCD to a 7.4-inch screen, right? So every inch counts. On top of that, you've got a better trackpad. So if you're in desktop mode, trying to add the emulators or anything else on there, the trackpad is actually a lot more responsive. And I mean, speaking of being responsive, you've ditched that whole 2010 touchscreen that was on the Steam Deck with, it was really just shitty, honestly, guys. I hated just how weird the sensitivity was on that. For a touchscreen, that's a lot more sensitive and better. On top of that, you've got quieter fans, and that's something that I'll talk about a little later, because I think that's like one of the really nice improvements there. And of course, you've got the OLED screen, which is the main selling point, but that's something, again, I'll talk about a little later. So let's dive into like all of these upgrades in depth, and let's just see if they really matter, right? When you're playing, is it something that just matters? So screen size, like I said, it's a little bigger. Is it a plus? Yeah, it's a plus. I mean, it's nice to have, but really, when I was playing, man, I kind of noticed it at first. I was like, hey, something feels a little different. But really, when you start playing the old Steam Deck, or you put them kind of next to each other, you start to notice that the screen's just a little bigger, a little more room here from those bezels. I mean, I'll put them head to head so you guys could see in the video for yourselves. But yeah, it's noticeable, but it's not that noticeable, right? It's not like a huge selling point there. On top of that, this one weighs a little bit less. I mean, again, if you put both in your hands, you can kind of feel the difference. But yeah, I mean, if you don't like the weight of the Steam Deck and you think it's kind of heavy, it's not that much better here. It's not like they made it like ultra light or anything like that. So honestly, guys, really negligible there. I mean, again, cool perk to have, but nothing you really will like honestly notice when you're playing this thing. What you will actually notice is going to be the trackpad. So when you're setting up EmuDeck or anything like that, or if you're on the desktop mode, or if you're even using like games that use a trackpad, it's just a lot more responsive, right? It feels like they've almost mastered it with the trackpads. I mean, they're awesome when it comes to the Steam Deck. It's a really unique thing that's on there. And straight up, guys, they figured it out. It's great. Touchscreen, like I said earlier, went from being this piece of shit touchscreen to something that's a lot better. So if you're emulating any DS games or anything like that that uses the touchscreen, a lot better now. So awesome plus there. And I mean, technically, guys, it's supposed to get less hot. I'm coming from the LCD Steam Deck, which got a little hot on the back. It wasn't anything that I noticed. I mean, too much, really. It doesn't like burn up your hand or anything. But you do notice that it's a little less hot. Again, nothing crazy. Honestly, something you might not even notice, to be honest with you guys. It's not that serious, but something that I noticed and that even my wife noticed, the fans are a lot quieter. When it comes to the LCD deck, the fans are a lot louder. They ramp up, especially when you're playing something like a Cyberpunk or anything that's really graphically intensive. Those fans are freaking loud, man. And honestly, guys, I play this thing, in bed when I'm winding down, usually just like on mute or on low, or even just like on the couch when we've got like a show on or something, and I'm kind of just paying attention to both. So it's just like something that I'll do in quiet times, right? It's like, not like I have headphones in or anything like that while I'm playing. I like to be somewhat present, and not fully unplugged. So yeah, it's like if you find yourself in any of those use cases, right? If this is something that you want to play when you're in bed, maybe just like winding down. Honestly, guys, I'm at a desk freaking at work all day, and it's like, I love my setup and I love everything that I've got going on, but sometimes you just want to relax, right? And just kick your feet up and play a game. Yeah, the fans are a huge difference. If you ask my wife, if you ask me, I mean, I personally that's one of my favorite upgrades besides like the actual OLED like screen on there. So definitely something that's awesome. And it's something that you will notice off the bat if you got an LCD deck. So let's get into more of like the internal upgrades, right? So, I mean, they've upgraded the battery clearly, which is going to be just an awesome thing, right? We're expecting just an amazing battery here. And when you start playing your Steam Deck OLED, you are going from a 2-hour battery life on something like Cyberpunk to a whopping 3 freaking hours, guys. Really not that serious, really. Honestly, man, when it comes to battery on these types of things, it's just the tech is not there, man. It's just not there yet. And odds are you're going to be plugged in half the time. If you ask me personally, maybe 80% of the time, 90% actually, I'm always near an outlet. I'm always plugged in or I'm always near an outlet, right? If I'm in bed or if I'm on the couch, the outlet's right there. I rarely will like use these things unplugged, only because I don't like to worry about battery, man. I have this trauma from being a kid playing Pokemon Crystal, right? Getting through, I think, 3 or 4 gyms on my Game Boy, only for it to die and just realizing that I didn't save. So for me, batteries freak me out. They always have. If I have any way of being plugged in or if I've got fresh batteries back in the day, I'm always just like topped off just to make sure. I never want to relive that shit again. So yeah, guys, I mean, I'm not someone that goes to the park and plays this thing, right? The most that I've actually used this unplugged was actually going to be on an airplane. And that was because the plug in the seat was shit and it wasn't working. So I had to just, tough it out, play for like 3 or 4 hours. And, by then my eyes were tired. I went to sleep. So yeah, graphically intensive games. I think when I was playing like Kingdom Come Deliverance and I was testing it out, you get around like 3-ish hours. And then when it comes to like anything like a Dave the Diver, any of those indie games, you can get like 10 or 12 hours on it. Again, it's not like a huge bonus here, right? It's not like, oh my God, I need to get rid of my deck and get this for a better battery life. It's real slight. And it also comes down to like your use case, right? If you like to play this shit in public and be a weirdo, I mean, good for you. But if you're usually near an outlet, like most people, I mean, you're pretty much fine. Another thing you're going to notice is the screen has now gone up to 90 hertz, which is great. But again, you're not going to see it much when it comes to like your newer games, right? Valve has admit that they're not going to be really making a Steam Deck 2 till they're able to get a little bit better of like graphical powers in here. So basically when it comes to the Steam Deck OLED, the graphics are the same, right? You've got the same type of CPU. I think the RAM's just a little bit faster, making it a little better. But yeah, I mean, the 90 hertz, you're not going to see unless you're playing like Cult of the Lamb, Dave the Diver, Balatro, other things like that. Any, lower res games that are being able to handle that. You're not going to get 90 hertz in Cyberpunk unless, I don't know, man, unless you turn everything down maybe all the way. Haven't really tried, but yeah, it's something that's cool to have. But again, it's not a big game changer there. It's not a huge selling point if you ask me, but it is just like improved. And that's something that you'll see a lot in this review, right? I mean, this thing has been touched almost everywhere and everything has just been improved. And now for like the biggest selling point when it comes to the Steam Deck OLED, guys, and it is the freaking OLED screen. And anyone that has an OLED in their house, right, you can attest to this. It is a blessing and a freaking curse, right? Because once you go OLED, there is no going back, man. I bought a LG OLED TV and, you know, had a couple LCD monitors here behind me, or some 4K ones. But, you know, when it came to my gaming, I just preferred playing on PlayStation. I preferred playing on Xbox. It didn't matter, you know, that I had a 3080 and then a 4080 in my PC. At the end of the day, whatever graphics card I was using just did not match that display, man. The blacks are blacker, the colors are more vibrant, it gets a lot brighter. It is honestly something that I'll try to show you in the YouTube video, but I know it gets compressed. I'll put both side by side. But the OLED screen, man, it is a game changer, right? It's like, I can't even go back to like the OG Switch, because the Switch OLED is really like the right and best way to play. It almost feels like this stuff needs to be just industry standard at this point, because I mean, the tech is there, right? And it's amazing. And it really just sucks, right? Playing on something that's just not an OLED at the end of the day. To give you guys just like a prime example, it is probably the best thing you can do for your setup, right? And this is just complete side note, right? I've got a 4080 here, and instead of getting a 5080 or anything like that, or upgrading and spending 2K on a 5090 for just a few more frames, the best decision I made was drop money on this Samsung G9 OLED here behind me, ultra wide, amazing, game changer. And it's up there with my TV, right? And now I play PC games a lot more because the experience, I mean, you as a gamer, right? You're spending your time looking at a screen, right? So it is arguably the biggest improvement and best thing that you could do, you know, besides graphics and capability and FPS and all that shit. Just set all that aside. The screen is what you're experiencing. It's what you're looking at. You know, it's super important. And the minute you upgrade to an OLED, man, it is what it's just, you can't go back. You really just cannot go back. And it is a game changer. When it comes to the LCD, the colors are a bit washed. I know there's like some plugins that you could do with Decky Loader and stuff to kind of make the contrast a little better. But yeah, man, it just does not compare to the OLED Steam Deck here for you guys. I think when it comes to like the improvements, just to be completely honest, I mean, the trackpads are a nice improvement. Are they really like a selling point? Not really. Same with the touchscreen, right? Nice improvement. Is it a selling point? Not really. You know, you've got better thumbsticks, right? Selling point? Again, not really. Battery life? Not that serious. The quieter fans, though, honestly, for me, man, I like the quieter fans. I think that's a pretty nice upgrade there. But you're primarily buying this for the OLED screen, honestly. So if you are strapped for cash, right, and you've got an LCD Steam Deck, are you missing out on much without upgrading to this one? Honestly, not really, man. Like, don't put yourself in a hole over it. You're missing out on the OLED screen, which is amazing, but it's not worth just like ruining yourself over, right? If you want to wait for a Steam Deck 2, I don't blame you. I really don't. I think if you have got the cash for it, if you're a gamer like me that just likes to buy shit, and most of us are, it's an amazing upgrade, man. And it's because, like I said, everything in this thing has been touched, right? Everything has been improved, even slightly, you know, better battery, quieter fans, better touchscreen, better trackpads. I think the buttons are a little more responsive. I think on the shoulder pads, I didn't even talk about the LB and RB. It seems just like a little better. It's a little lighter. The screen's a little bigger. But again, you are paying for that OLED experience. And like I said earlier, man, you're looking at a screen, right? You're experiencing video games. You're looking at blacks and like colors and things that pop. And yeah, I mean, the graphic card might not be better. It might not, you know, be able to play Alan Wake 2. But I mean, I'm playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on this, and it's optimized as hell. It looks great. It feels awesome. And it's like I'm able to get through it here and on my freaking actual desktop. It's a no-brainer, man. I love this thing. I honestly think it's a great upgrade. It's not like, it almost feels like a 1.5 upgrade, right? Because it's not like they did what the Switch did and they kind of just gave you a better screen and said, you know, pay us again. I mean, they took the time to kind of just like fine tune it all here. And I mean, I think that's the best way of explaining it, is that this is kind of just like a 1.5 or adjustment of the Steam Deck, right? It's like taking everything that was kind of okay in the last one and just making it better here. So if you don't have an LCD, I mean, this is a no-brainer. You've got to get the OLED. But if you do have the LCD and you've got the means for it, right, and you love it and you enjoy it, you're going to enjoy this. You're not going to like buy this, open it, play on it a little bit and go, kind of regret it, kind of want my money back. Kind of, I'm going to go back to the LCD. I don't think, I mean, drop a comment, let me know. I don't know anybody that's just like, yeah, I went back to the LCD. It's not that serious. Odds are you're freaking keeping this thing, right? I mean, it's just a better version of yours. So yeah, guys, to kind of wrap things up with my thoughts on it, are there a lot of upgrades in the Steam Deck OLED when it comes to the LCD? Yes. Is everything just going to be extremely noticeable and is just like something you can't live without? Not really. I think the primary selling point is this OLED screen. I think it is like literally what you are paying for. Everything else is just icing on the cake, man. And at the end of the day, if you've got the financial means for it, right, I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's definitely something that I wish I did just like last year, man. I really wish I bought it when it came out because this has just like improved my experience just overall. And that's coming from someone that loves their Steam Deck LCD. And I mean, again, I'm playing Civilization on here, Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's still running newer games. It's not something that's just like old and left behind. I would say it's definitely worth the money. But if you don't have the financial means for it, don't feel like you're missing out on much, right? I mean, it's really not something, you know, you want to kind of put yourself in a hole into. Be financially responsible. Trust me, it's overall better. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what you think, especially if you've got both, right? If you've got both, let me know what you think. Are you one of those rare cases that bought the OLED and returned it and just kept your LCD? Let me know. Also, let me know what you think of the video. I'm currently flooded with freaking games right now, man, in February. So I'm working on a few reviews, working on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, playing some Civilization 7. And then, I mean, I think we've got Monster Hunter and Avowed coming, which is an insane month, right? It feels like the year just started and we're already getting just like crammed with games. Drop a like if you like the video. Don't forget to hit subscribe to help us out with the algorithm. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks, guys.